Welcome back to NTV News First Edition. It's time now for our regular Thursday feature, Get Psyched with Dr. Janine. And this week, we're going to talk about COVID fatigue and all the things that are associated with it. Well, joining me now is Dr. Janine Hubbard, clinical child psychologist. Thank you so much for being here.
Good evening.
Thanks for doing this new feature with us.
It's very exciting.
It certainly is exciting. And a pretty big topic this week. We're going to talk about COVID fatigue. So how is this affecting us?
This is affecting every single one of us in some way, shape, or form. Here's the thing. Our bodies are not designed to deal with long-term chronic stress. We're really good at mobilizing short-term to deal with, an emergency. And that's what we were all doing back in March. Now, it affected a lot of us and caused increases in anxiety and depression and insomnia. But for the most part, we were able to rally. Our bodies, our physiology was able to go, okay, I can handle this. Problem is, this has been going on and on and on. And even though we've had a relatively safe period of time up until quite recently, our adrenal systems have still kind of been lingering. And so they've still kind of been under duress, and we are feeling the effect of it. We are all tired, we are worn out, and although there is positive news coming, it's still a long way off, and it's affecting all of us.
It is affecting all of us, and we seem to be seeing it more and more. We're seeing people who are getting more irritable, maybe even angry. So why is that happening?
Well, there's a couple of things. First of all, like I say, that long-term effect just wears us down. And you all know, if you are not at your best, if you're worn out, we tend to be more grouchy, more irritable at the best of times. What's also happening here in the province, at least in the last week or two, what we've seen is, because we're suddenly seeing cases again for the first time in months and months, other than isolated ones, we're seeing fear. That's creeping back in, and fear very often gets translated as anger. Because fear is something that makes us feel hopeless and helpless, so we try to find a place to target it. And unfortunately, in a lot of people at the moment, that's coming out as anger and irritability and some scapegoating.
Which leads us to our next question, which is, how important is it to practice empathy and to not stigmatize those affected by outbreaks, people, I guess, like rotational workers or their families and their children?
Absolutely. And again, this is why we're seeing a different reaction to people getting infected now than we did back in March. There's a lot of blame being placed on people who, quite frankly, this is a highly contagious disease. You can be doing everything right and still wind up being impacted by it. And we're seeing it impacting small communities where, let's face it, everybody knows everyone, and everyone will know who the people in the community are who have contracted things. So more than ever, reducing your suspicions and trying to remember that this is a potentially life-threatening or life-altering illness for those who contract it. So as opposed to being suspicious and angry and laying blame, how be we, put on our caring hat and think and reach out to members of our community and say, how can I help?
Dr. Janine Hubbard, it is such a pleasure to have you in, and now we're going to get to see you every Thursday. Thank you so much for this.
Thanks again.